Hi, I'm Kerry and this is Kerry's Corner. This Kerry's Corner will have two parts. The first part is setting the stage for the second part, so please bear with me through some details and very personal moments. This was a very difficult week at camp. It was the second week of 2 weeks of Alice and I teaching at Camp Hunt. Camp is a very different environment, and I look forward to spending time with my Camp Hunt family and seeing how the young people have grown and changed from year to year. This year started out that way. The first week I had the mystery pain in my stomach that I had talked about in my last Kerry's Corner. That went away. The allergy problems that I had turned into something worse, and by the time the second week started, I was struggling with coughing at night so hard that I could not get any sleep. The week began with the death of a good friend, which was unexpected. Arrangements were made, and I was going to have to travel back to speak at the funeral during the week. On Monday, another friend who had been having health problems was rushed to the hospital unexpectedly. She was feeling odd and was concerned. Her heart stopped twice, and they brought her back, and they had to put her on life support and eventually gave her a pacemaker. I was her health proxy and was talking to the doctors and the family, getting reports. Monday night, I think I had 9 calls through the night. It was surreal being at camp the next day. That night, after much consultation and realizing that she had experienced a stroke and had no chance of living without the machine, we made the decision to end life support. She went home to be with Jesus. 3 minutes later, we were not supporting her life. We were artificially holding her back from eternity. I will miss both of these sisters dearly. I had talked to both recently, and they were confident in their faith and were ready to trust their eternity into the hands of the one who had saved them by faith through grace. I felt sad for their families in their passing, but happy for them both. Wednesday, after another night of coughing, I woke up knowing that I was worse. I knew something was wrong. I decided to go back early so that I could go to urgent care before working on preparing the funeral and communicating with both families. I went straight to the doctor and found out that I had 2 ear infections and a nasty sinus infection. It took me till early evening to get the scripts filled and start the medicines. Thursday, after failing to sleep in several places and positions in my house, I gave up trying and just got up and finished preparing for the funeral. The funeral went well. The doctor had told me that the good news was that I could not give what I had to anyone. The bad news was that I would feel terrible. She was right. Now let me shift gears and tell you about how amazing our God is, even if most of you listening to this already know it. At camp, 2 of the co-teachers working with us were Bob and Amy Shaver, who came to the Lord many years ago. They had heard of our VBS and brought their 3 children. They were Julie, Laura, and Robert Shaver. We studied with Bob and Amy for some time until they obeyed the gospel. The Shavers worshiped with us for many years. Eventually, Bob became a deacon at Albany. Later, when we planted a church in Troy across the river, Bob and Amy went there to help the church. Over the years, Julie married John Singleton, Laura married Adam Luigi, and Robert married Cassie James. All of these were people who grew up going to Camp Hunt together. Sitting and reflecting on this at breakfast at camp, I realized that what I was looking at was the fruit of the Shaver tree. The Shaver tree was planted in Albany by God, watered and nurtured in Albany, and eventually merged with the Singleton tree, the Luigi tree, and the James tree. As I looked around at camp, I saw our directors, John Singleton and Adam Luigi, and their wives, Julie and Laura. I saw Cassie briefly as she dropped her children. Bob and Amy were across from us, and Steve and Cindy Singleton were a few tables away next to John's brother, Michael Singleton, his wife Elizabeth, and their new baby Adeline Rose. Looking at the camper list, I saw children from the Singleton, Luigi, and Shaver families. The fruit of the Shaver tree continues to bless Camp Hunt through hardships, trials, and struggles. That tree has continued to grow strong, bear fruit, and impact lives. John, Julie's husband, is a teacher at Harding University. Laura's husband, Adam, is our youth and family minister in Albany. Robert, Cassie's husband, is a minister in Georgia. That tree that God planted in Albany many years ago still grows and bears fruit in our area and beyond. At the same time, the Luigi tree, the James tree, the Singleton tree, and the Shaver tree continue to strive to advance the kingdom in other places. After the funeral today, I was talking to the family of Priscilla Visa, who we lost at the beginning of the week. They told me that as children, they had spent their summers at Camp Hunt. They knew Glenn Albright, David Owens, and they talked about the impact that Camp Hunt has had in their development. They are still serving in the churches where they are worshiping. One of the nieces of Priscilla said, "Camp Hunt changes lives." It's a noble purpose. It is one that needs to continue. This was one very trying week. Somehow, through it all, it kept coming back to camp. Psalm 1 talks about the blessedness of the righteous man who delights in the law of the Lord and meditates on his law day and night. He describes him like this: he is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. Psalm 1:3. God is in the nursery business, planting trees, grafting, nurturing, and merging trees as he wills. At camp, we have had the privilege of nurturing those trees as they pass through. In addition, sometimes we plant trees. Wherever we go, we get to see the fruit and blessings that God has brought about over the years through Camp Hunt. So why did I start this out talking about the difficulty of the week? The truth is, with the sickness, the death, and the sleeplessness, I was beginning to think that this week might be the worst week I've ever had at camp. But God turned it into a realization of the important work that God has done and is continuing to do at Camp Hunt. Thank you, God, for letting us be a part of it all through these years. Proverbs 11:30 says, "The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and whoever captures souls is wise." Kerry.